Hi, good morning. It's Reverend Jude. Talking to you today about the Spirit and the fruit of our Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. This is the character of the man or woman who is justified by grace through faith. Yet, as we review this list, and especially as we review it slowly and prayerfully, we may find ourselves growing weary and discouraged by how little of the fruit we see. We are still angry at times, still struggling with self-control, still not nearly as gentle as Jesus Christ was and is. Life begins with realizing that the source of everything we are is the Lord. He created us, He owns us, He gifted us with talents, and He authors our story. And every blessing that we receive comes from Him. Additionally, Christ is the source of our daily righteousness. We have no internal desire or moral ability to live up to spiritual standards on our own, but in Christ we have everything we need for spiritual living. Growth is gradual. We are an impatient people, accustomed to instant gratification. A fruit tree grows gradually over many years of careful and deliberate cultivation. If you purchase a sapling tree today, it will probably be close to 5 years before you see the first fruit dangling from the end of a branch. Trees are tended carefully, pruned deliberately, and loved patiently until they bear the best of fruit. Our growth in character is also far more gradual than we may like, but patience, that is to mark our lives, first marks God Himself. He is patient and grows with us as we grow towards maturity. A God-centered life means that He is the motivation for everything we think, say, and do. Growth is inevitable. A healthy fruit tree that has been lovingly tended will bear fruit. Every person who professes faith needs to examine his life to ask whether the Spirit's fruit is present there. While we are saved by faith and not fruit, the fact remains that faith necessarily produces fruit. It is not wrong to pursue personal goals, but the glory of God in Christ is the orienting compass, gives directions to all others. Our decisions are no longer controlled by selfish desires, but by new desires we get from His love. Growth is internal. Fruit trees grow and produce fruit when they are deeply rooted in good soil and when the tree is internally strong. The fruit of the Spirit is proof of a deep internal health and grows out of that deep internal health. We know that this life is not all there is and that an eternity is coming. God calls us to examine ourselves, but healthy self-examination is a difficult and dangerous duty. Growth is symmetrical. A healthy fruit tree does not grow fruit on only one of its branches, but on all of them. The fruit is the entire list, not the individual character traits. These traits are so inevitably linked that we cannot have one without the other. It is truly impossible to love without being patient and kind. It is impossible to exhibit self-control towards another person without a God-given joy. Growth is invisible. You can stand beside a fruit tree all day and all night, and you will never actually see the fruit grow. In the same way, our growth is best measured after time and difficult circumstances have passed. It is after times of great sorrow or difficulty that you can say, I used to respond to a situation like this with anger, lashing out, but yesterday I responded with joy and self-control. The growth has been invisible, but very real. There is no magic answer, of course, but let me share a couple of things that have affected my own lethargy and apathy. One of the things that sometimes get me is sloth. Sloth doesn't mean that you're just sitting around watching TV all day. It means indifference. Feeling apathetic, saying, I really don't care, it doesn't matter, what's the use, whatever. It's a pretty accurate characteristic of the modern era, a mild cynicism that questions whether or not anything really matters. The thing is, everything actually does matter. The tiniest things we do, the most careless words we say, the small act of kindness towards another person, all these things actually count. From God's perspective, there is nothing that we do that's outside of His gaze or concern. Think of how Jesus chose to single out giving a glass of cold water to someone who is thirsty, and talked about how you won't lose your reward in heaven when you do something that small. He thought that spotting someone else and serving them in some way really mattered. Also, let's think about the way in which people who are apathetic also complain and grumble. God and Jesus remind us not to fall asleep or to lose sight about what it's all about. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget who I am. God is committed to touch us right down to our throwaway comments, the casual bad attitudes and whatevers that we can so degrade our lives into apathy. I've heard from lots of people wondering how we can experience true, heartfelt, and God-honoring happiness in a broken world where life can be difficult. They often ask something like, what should I do when I don't feel happy? We should never flippantly say, happiness is a choice. It's not always easy to choose what brings ultimate lasting happiness or what brings instant temporary happiness. So there's a lot to be said for just do it. Too many of us wait for sufficient motivation before making wise and joyful producing choices, whether it's exercise, eating right, or volunteering to serve others. When we take those first steps, we overcome inertia and establish new habits. One way we can see the positive happiness that results are we are much more motivated to keep up those new patterns. I make myself be happy. I make myself sing because I have to. People who enter my presence are greeted with a happy face. If I'm not feeling happy, I ask God, can I please borrow your smile? I need it desperately. I need you. Our weakness is God's strength. You don't have to hide your weaknesses. Gussy yourself up before God in the morning so that He'll be happy with you and see that you really believe in Him. God is our strength. We must ask for spiritual help to guide us. Life is not easy, never will be. But we can change our attitudes by being thankful for the good things we have. I am so grateful that my family is doing well. I pray for those who need healing, never expecting good from God. In my childhood days, Halloween was a special holiday because my mom read tea leaves. I gave parties for my children. When she was the special guest to treat children after Halloween or on a Saturday before Halloween, the tradition was loved by my children. I'm most thankful that my mother lived to be 93, that I had her support and help my whole life. Remembering God's faithfulness at times of the year for which He has done for me all my life has made me more grateful. I am thankful for His grace that has carried me through some difficult seasons in my life. I thank God every day His mercies are fresh and new for me. He daily loads us with benefits. We have blessings from spirituality of knowing our relatives are alive on the other side. God assured us we will live forever. What better promise can we be thankful for than that? Stay close to the Lord. Hold your family close to your heart and remember to be thankful. Always be forever grateful on a daily basis. We are His children. He is a kind and loving Father. He is here to carry us over hard times, be with us in our joys, and always will be with us as we walk this earth and in the future when we return to Spirit. We have been blessed to know our Creator and that we are justified by grace through His faith. God bless you all and thank you for listening.